Welcome back to this week's episode of Quilt Along with John, and I've got the most amazing lady joining us today, Vendulka. Welcome, it's so nice to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for finally having me.
I know, I've been trying to get it right for so long. I keep messing around with it all. Darling, tell some people a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I was born in Czech Republic, and I came to UK what is now probably 13-15 years ago, something like that. I've lost the count. And I have been sewing with my mum. She is a milliner. My eldest sister is a tailoress. So, sewing and fabric has always been, our house was always full of them. And so I always did dressmaking, and I still love it. I've got some New Jersey fabrics just sort of on the table over there, which are just yummy. And I've been now playing with some quilted jackets as well, which is really
Quilted jackets are making a I don't know if it's a comeback or a resurgence, but I know 4 different people doing them. They look amazing.
Well, this is it. Yes, I think that's we've sort of been through that kind of series of this sort of boxy jackets, and now it's time for a little bit more sophisticated, or at least that's what I'm trying to do.
But you've got the most phenomenal style. Anytime anybody sees you at a festival, you look so glamorous. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
So yeah, whatever you're wearing, I'm going to do the same.
Brilliant.
There was actually a guy on TikTok who used to go around, well, he still does. He had an exhibition at the Met Gala at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, I think it was, in the textile section. He would take very, very old vintage quilts, lay them down as a piece of fabric, draw the pattern out for a jacket, and then make jackets out of these vintage quilts. And part of me was like, oh my God, how amazing. But the other part of me is like, oh, it's so old, you can't do that. It's really conflicting.
It is, yeah. I'm following another lady on Instagram who does the same thing, so she takes these sort of old quilts. It is very, I understand where some people might be against it. On the other hand, isn't it nice to give the quilt another proper life?
Exactly. And that's what people would want, is that, quilts that we make, we want people to be using and enjoying and loving.
Yeah, definitely. So dressmaking has always been sort of big thing for me, and still is. And then I was in Scotland, and it was at the time of my life when I was looking for. I always admired people whose hobby became their way of living. Yeah. So I was looking, what is it for me? I tried millinery. I tried making hats. And it's great, it's creative, it's wonderful, but let's be honest, you need to be in Ascot or in the middle of London. It's just yeah, Suffolk doesn't really do it. I tried upholstery as well. I know that I'm glad that I know how to do it, but I wouldn't want to be doing it for a living. It is quite hard work. And then I was in Scotland, and I stopped in front of these sort of stairs going up, which I saw, and on those sort of flat sides I could see fabrics, haberdashery, classes. It was literally like stairs to heaven.
Oh wow.
and I was like, ooh. So I went in, and the following week was starting a beginner's patchwork class. So this is my little sample, which I've done all those years ago.
Oh, how fabulous.
4 blocks, nothing else, 4 simple blocks. But it just gave me that sort of, beginning. And honestly, we didn't even finish this. And I bought a magazine and saw one of the quilts in there. Absolutely, was like, oh, this is really nice, lots of squares and triangles. Mind you, I've learned to draw myself a 1/4 of an inch seam. Yeah. So the quilt, which I'm going to show you, every single triangle, because it's and square as well, had the seam drawn on it. By the end of it, I knew where the 1/4 of an inch seam is. Yeah.
What a great way of learning it. I think that's really clever, because most of us just do it by eye.
Yes. Well, it was just one way of doing it. It was made for Olivier, and I so just beautiful, just alternating light, medium, and dark blocks. And I always joke that it took him 5 minutes to fall in love, and it took me a year and a half. And this was done in that year and a half. But look at that! Look at the back. It's still covered with hearts, so I already sort of knew that he is the man.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And back then I didn't know how to bury threads, so can you see I was still doing the sort of backstage, because that's what I was used to from dressmaking. And the sort of quilting is I mean, the hearts are all kinds of shapes and sizes, but it's all right. And look, there is sort of what's the word? Dedication with love for Ollie from Vendulka, done in hand stitch. What's it called? Lazy Daisy. Just the ordinary hand chain
Oh,
stitch.
that's amazing. And what a beautiful thing to have for the pair of you to share.
It is, yes, yeah. I mean, I made us another quilt for a bed. This one has got somewhere marks from chocolate. It's a proper family quilt, which it's being used and loved, and yeah, appreciated. So yeah, that is our passion. But I'll show you one which is also our family one. It was one of the sort of first. After this, I then made quilt for my mom, quilt for Ollie's mom, quilt for my best friend. The usual, the quilts which I no
You do
longer
the
have.
rounds of all the people you
Exactly.
get friends.
Yes, exactly. I did the rounds, and then we went to travel to Australia, and we spent a couple of days in China. Then we did 3 weeks in New Zealand and 3 months in Australia. And I this is the best quilt, or people absolutely love this one. So let me just show you like this. So this is the size. Australasia trip 2009. Yeah. It's all pieced by hand, but it also has got photographs. It's the best heirloom quilt we've got. Absolutely stunning. And there is a map of New Zealand. This little part is from China. So that is actually Great Wall of China, as we were sort of climbing it somewhere. And so I've got kind of red fabrics representing the China, and there is a one only fabric which was bought in China. Otherwise, all the rest are kind of like a Chinese style, but bought in New Zealand. And then the green part is New Zealand, and the top is Australia. Now the map of Australia on the top. Hold on, I'm just kind of trying to. Can you see? There is like in bits. So that is actually, it has got all those sort of Aboriginal dots. They're painted by me. I wanted to draw where we drove. Yes, I wanted to have line of where we were driving to make it really properly personalized.
That is incredible. That is so amazing.
Yeah.
And I love the Maori outline of New Zealand that you've done on there. It's just incredible.
We saw it somewhere. We went to a actually we've got dates and places where we've been written all over. And so in April we went to Wellington Patchwork Symposium. And so while we were there, I saw the map done like this on one of the quilts, and I just thought, oh, that's just wonderful. So I kind of borrowed that idea.
They would
And
love that you have. That is just
yeah,
beautiful.
so this is the sort of the heirloom, and the one which I've made for our bed eventually one day is a lock cabin like this. and it has got our initials in the middle, quilted. And I have covered it with feathers. So yeah, I must admit, the first winter when we still sort of slept underneath it, I was literally like looking at it thinking, oh, did I make that? Did I
It's
make that?
incredible. But honestly, if you see the ingenuity and the way that you've actually gone about thinking, just on that Australian quilt as well, it's something relatively simple that you've made so perfect and so you. And then the log cabin there, that's just so personal and so amazing.
Thank you.
You're
It's
very talented.
Thank you. It's just having fun. The log cabin started because customer came to the shop and she said, "I'd like to make a log cabin," and I said, "Yeah, I've never made one. Let's Google." So we sort of Googled some ideas, and there was one which popped out, and I was like, "Oh, I really like the look of that." So I used very similar colors, but then the way I kind of designed it, because what I've used is an off-centered log cabin, so the center isn't in the middle, it's a little bit off. I When I then put it together, the way I intended it on my drawing, it looked like a Pac-Man. And I was like, there
No,
is no way. There is no way I'm having a
no.
quilt with a Pac-Man. So yeah, so then I was yeah, reshaping, redoing. But also the other thing, like when I'm sort of walking around and you can see all these pieces of work, you need to think that I am doing it for 11 years now professionally. I'm not a hobbyist. I um i i don't take 3 years to do a quilt. It usually is in a sort of realms of sort of months or weeks if I have to. So yeah, it's different. The passion is there, just like
But
anybody
equally,
else's.
running a business, it's impossible for you to dedicate that much time to anything as a single project. And when you do, don't you do quite well with them? Was
Wonder
that a
what.
subtle segue into what was it?
Into the best in a show, you mean? And that quilt did took a long time to do. That is true. And that is this beauty. So yes, that is true. That one has taken, oh, several months, and it was quilted by me and then painted on by Olivier. And it's just, yeah, it's,
So that was best at Festival of Quilts 2021.
yes.
But you started that how many years ago? Because it came up in a memory on your Facebook that you'd
Did.
started in 2019.
Yes, yes. To be perfectly honest, it was actually touring the country in. So if I started it in 2018, it was touring in 2019 with Grosvenor shows. So it has been around. And then when it was Festival of Quilts, I actually, the whole lockdowns, I spend it doing sort of new exciting classes, kind of, developing new classes and recording online courses. So I didn't really manage to do like a new competition worthy quilt. But I just thought it was supposed to go in 2019 2020, but we decided, we just didn't. No photograph would do it justice. Yeah.
And that I can contest to, because obviously being at festival and having seen it up close, and the lighting that they had at the festival was, sorry, no offense to the people that did the lighting, it wasn't the best lighting for it,
No.
because it was a slightly yellow light.
Yes.
And it looked so different, because when I took flash photography on it, it popped in such a different way. How on
Exactly.
earth did you think about doing this? How did you start the process?
Well, I'll tell you what, it started with much smaller ones. So, okay, another one on the wall or two behind me. they are sort of bit sort of larger, but they absolutely originally started as small as this. This was the first little mandala. Yeah, which is tiny little size. And then you just, or not maybe not everybody, but Olivier and I, we then just go, all right, well, what could we do sort of next? You know, well, how could we, what size, what could we do sort of next? And then it just grew in size. I've got one beautiful one here, which has got loads of hand embroidery. You see, so these ones are all French knots. Those are little sort of lazy daisies, loads of hand embroidery on it, with combination with the paint, you know, and just the sparkle on it is just amazing.
But what gets me is you say just the paint, but when you look at it to start with, you've got that amazing fabric. I'm guessing you've dyed the fabric yourself as well.
No,
Was
I
that
don't
just a
dye
bit
fabrics. No, it's commercially dyed fabrics.
You
There
are
is
phenomenally talented, because I can assure you anything I did with a piece of fabric like that wouldn't look like that.
it's actually this technique. It's so what's the word when people can duplicatable, you know, because obviously nowadays the teacher in me want to always find a ways how I can sort of pass it on, how an ordinary person can have a try at the same technique. So I've got these mandalas as a designs which people trace onto together with Christmas trees. So I've got quite a few now. So then, hold on. Oh, need one which has got light colored. So this one is the simplest one. Can you see how much is quilted? So that one was designed so that people could do it with a walking foot. And ta-da! Yeah.
Shut the front door. That's incredible.
I know. So, you know, you don't have to quilt as much as I do. I love the free motion quilting side of it. So I quilt a lot.
Hang on, I'm going back a step. So that is just a plain piece of cloth that you've quilted that design on the back,
yeah,
and then put all those arcs in and then fabric painted onto them.
Yeah. And the thing is that, you know,
sign me up. Take all my money. I need to learn this. This is incredible.
So, and the fun part is people always kind of wonder, like, how can the stitching be so perfectly around the paint? Well, because it's stitched first and then just colored in.
Bet you don't get out the lines there.
Well, I mean, you know, it's much more easier to sort of color within the lines on this one. And also with the paint, you can disguise some of the
creative differences.
Yes, the sort of the discrepancies in the quilting lines, you know, you can then sort of even them out with the drawing. So again, this is how much is quilted, and I don't have anybody who could tidy my threads, so they are still there. And this is then, you know, and then it's all about colors. And for a sort of samples like this, which we then, you know, have got as kits and as patterns and things like that, I always try to limit myself to like 4 paints, so that, you know, then it's sort of manageable, the price of the kit. Whereas on the big one, I just, mind you, I sometimes still have to limit Olivier because he loves colors, absolutely loves colors. And I remember this one piece, I don't know where it is, somewhere, and it was like a blue piece, and he said, oh, wouldn't it be lovely just monochrome, you know? And I come 2 hours later and there is orange in the middle of it. So on the big one,
that is monochrome, isn't it?
Well, he actually, well, funnily enough, it actually, he then agreed that yes, blue and orange goes beautifully together. It's great, but he actually then covers the orange with the white, and it is monochrome. He sort of agreed that actually, we could actually pace ourselves and stick to just sort of monochrome colors.
So with the fabrics, you're actually able to, the fabric painting, you're actually able to color over a color afterwards, and it
Yes.
doesn't show through from underneath.
No,
How
no, just
amazing.
sits
How on
nice.
earth did you get the idea to go from doing such amazing quilting then to go and do the coloring with fabric?
I tell you where it all started. It started with Sheena Norkey, who came to Vectis Quilters. I came to her talk, and she did this wonderful, like a circles, this sort of hangings which had lots of sort of circles, and they were quilted and then sort of painted. And I think that one of the things which she was using, or definitely that's what sort of Olivier then started to use as a sort of spin-off, was silk gutta. Have you heard what that is? When you want to paint on a silk, yeah, so you want to make a nice painted silk scarf, they've got a very fine nozzle, and the gutta comes in black, silver, gold, or clear color, and you sort of draw lines, and as it dries on the silk, it stops the dye from traveling further. So you can have sort of green and then yellow, and they're not gonna bleed into each other. Yeah, but on the fabric, it just sits on the top of it as a very beautiful, fine silver line. Yeah. So
How
he's
do you apply it? Do you just use a
it,
tube?
no, it has got a nozzle,
Perfect.
very fine nozzle. And so Olivier started with these. He sort of took these long strips, and I've got actually one or two here. Hold on. Ta-da! And ta-da! So these were the sort of first ones. So these ones are combination of the gold there is Markal paint sticks, and then these lines are then the silk gutta. Yeah. And so that's what he, and the same was here, but in silver. So here we've got silver, and again, that's that kind of squiggly, filling up the squiggly line is done with the Markal paint sticks. This is
That
how
is
they look.
incredible. But how on earth did you come up with this, the idea of doing this? It's extraordinary.
Well, you kind of, I will forever, quote Sheena as our inspiration for that, and then you just have a little play and then see what happens. And with the next one, and with the next one, you take it further and you take it further, and but then obviously the gold and silver wasn't suddenly enough, So we found one brand which sort of did few more colors, but it wasn't the same. And then we came across these sort of marabou glitter paints in France, and we tried them, and we were like, wow, this is great, this works absolutely amazing. It does the same job, because it has got a nozzle. You apply it with a nozzle, so it's a little bit like icing a cake, and then you just go further, 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 and then Olivier was kind of like, okay, so what's the biggest one we can do, you know? And that's where the one with the feathers came. And then afterwards, we then had to make some feathers for people to do as well. So these are then, the patterns which we have got in the shop. So
Now, all of these are classes and kits that you sell in your shop.
yes, they
Tell
are.
people a little bit about your shop, because some people may not know about your shop.
Well, so we've started it back when we lived on the Isle of Wight. Both of our children were born on the Isle of Wight, and it was purely because I joined the local group, And I asked them, why is there no proper quilting shop on the island? And they said, oh, it wouldn't survive. Well, I had to try. As you do. And then it was just not, the island was beautiful. It's a lovely place to live, but the trouble is that for a business, I could see our potential customers across the water, but they just will not cross it. Yeah. So then when our daughter was about to start school, we thought we'll either stay here forever or we're going to move before she starts the school. And so we moved, and now we've been 6 years on the Isle of Wight. We've been now in Suffolk for 6 years, and so this is the sort of studio from where I teach. This is my lovely space. So we finally put our tables together. Otherwise, I mean, you can see the space. We had the tables nicely sort of spread out, and so this is where I teach from. And if I go upstairs, this is where we've got our fabrics and the baby. Well, the beast. It's not the baby. And we've got nice sort of, I really love batiks. So we're just now kind of batiks and blenders. But yeah, there's my Amara.
Have you
So
given your Amara a name yet?
it is Samsara.
Samsara, what a lovely name.
And it's a Sanskrit word for world. That sort of life and death circle, the circle of life. So yeah. So this is where all the magic happened. This is where I teach from, and
well, it's a bit like an Aladdin's cave, because you come through the shop, which is relatively small,
yeah,
opens up into this massive studio.
yes, it is. And it's light. We don't have any sort of daylight kind of, but you know what? It's brilliant, because we don't know if we are missing a beautiful sunshine outside or if it's raining cats and dogs, So we are all still nice and sort of safe in here, and yeah, I just love it here. Whether I'm here on my own, I love it when I'm here on my own as much as I love it when it's sort of buzzing with people. And so we do all kinds of different classes, but also my most favorite is actually our sewing club, where people just bring whatever they want to work on, and I'm just kind of browsing, waltzing through the room, just making sure that everybody's happy. So yeah, but also obviously lockdown has taught us that there is Zoom, there is online things as well, and people are less and less scared to sort of learn online. So in the lockdowns, what I started to do is, I must admit, I'm happy with Zoom when it comes to like this, one-on-one, or maybe giving a talk. Talk is great on a Zoom, because I don't need to drag all the quilts. I can just create a slideshow and they can all see them really well. But for teaching, it's just teaching on a Zoom is just not my cup of tea. So what I did, I bit the bullet, and I went and started to record the videos, and I really go in depth from how to choose your fabrics, cutting, all kinds of tips and tricks. And then I use lots of close-up videos, so that people can really see what I'm doing. And like this, people access it from my website. They've got the access to it forever. They can watch it as many times as they would like. They can ask questions underneath, and it's just absolutely fine. One of the reasons why I did that, not just because I don't like the Zoom, but also because I've got 2 kids at home, and I can't always commit myself, or over the sort of lockdowns, I couldn't always commit myself that I will have that 6 hours undisturbed to teach on Zoom, because I didn't know, are they gonna have to be stay at home, or are they gonna bring something home or not? So yeah, that's kind of, I could record it at my own pace, and just pass my sort of passion and enthusiasm.
So
Yeah.
I think that's a genius idea. And all of this is on your website, isn't it?
Yes, I am. Yeah. So they can all choose from. I think I've got now over sort of 20 of them, a couple of them for free as well, so that people can just, get an idea of how I teach. Must admit, it was quite difficult to start with, to learn to listen to my voice.
I do find watching things back, you're like, who on earth is that? I do understand.
Yes, yes. So
So you are handy quilting, you are doing quilting. Do you quilt for other people as well?
not really, no. I just had a first customer today who came to hire the machine. So she quilted a quilt herself, and so she spent like 2 hours. I was explaining her how it all works, and then when we actually loaded, it was a cot quilt, no taller than me, just like a, no, sorry, lap quilt, not cot quilt, larger than lap cot, but just a lap quilt. And I looked at when she started quilting, and then I told her when she finished, I said, "You know how long time it took you to quilt that thing? It was half an hour." No way, she couldn't believe it. So she was really really excited, and yeah, so now she knows how it's done. Now she just can sort of come and sort of pay sort of hourly. And so that's my idea with the machine. I Because I don't have a pro stitcher, and I want to have fun with the machine, and I want people to have fun with the machine, not just sort of load the quilt and press the button. Nothing wrong with that, there is space for that as well. But I just felt like there are two long arm quilters we've got locally who do, long arming for people. And I didn't want to step on anybody's toes. I've got no intention. It wouldn't really, it's not what fulfills me. And I just want people to be able to experience what it is to sort of quilt on it, and then have the option that if they've got a quilt, they can either struggle with it at home for I don't know how many hours, or just bring it here and have it done in sort of fraction of time.
And it
So
doesn't matter how good you are at home, they will be a pleat. It doesn't matter what you do, they will be a pleat.
yeah, there's that as well.
But you've done so much in such a short space of time. Is there anything that stands out to you as the most amazing highlight of it all?
I mean, best in a show is difficult to beat. That's for sure. That's for sure.
See,
And
for me, it was your son. The
well,
little video you did with your son with Handy Quilter recently.
yes, he just loves it. He loves, anything sewing related, because this is gonna go on. I can show you what he's just made. We've got an AGM next weekend, but you're gonna be releasing this video
On the Sunday evening,
on the
yes.
Sunday evening. So yeah, so I can show you. This is his entry. The theme was treasures from the earth, and for him it was nature. So this is his entry. So I had a panel with earth, with Australia in the middle of it, and so he just sort of zigzagged it on. All these little pieces, they are just glued. Some of them are not even stitched around. He was really, already when he was doing the binding with me yesterday, bless him, he was nearly in tears. He was, I don't know how to do a straight line, and I was like, come on, I'll help you. So I had to really help him a bit with the binding. But then he was stitching, can you see the stars in the binding, just to kind of, make it go right. So he started with a couple of wobbles, and then it's just perfectly straight, like if I was doing it. I just couldn't believe it. So I said to my husband, I said, somebody will think that wobbly thing, that's what the son did, and the rest is the mum. And I was like, no. So I
No, people know you well enough by now.
yes,
That's incredible. What a special piece.
yes. So that's his entry, and he is already working on his entry for the Festival of Quilts.
That is so amazing. It was just announced this afternoon that Balthazar has won the section that he entered into this afternoon at the AGM. So congratulations to him. Because whatever you're creating here, passing it on to them It's extraordinary. Well, I say them, your daughter's not keen?
Not really, no, but she will have her own talents, or she might come to it much later on, who knows. But you know what? Yes, I do a lot of things, but I must admit that I would I would do half if I didn't have the men I've got on my side, because so many women know how much time the cleaning at home takes, the cooking at home takes, and all these kind of things. And I'm sort of sitting here today doing all this, or any day after work, and we now live only two minutes walk. So I'm just here happily sewing, getting on with my work. And then I get this video call: dinner's going to be on the table in 10 minutes. You better hurry up. And, it makes all the difference. It adds.
Well, it did only take him 5 minutes to fall in love with you. So it's all, he would do that happily, I'm sure.
Yes.
But you are such a remarkable couple, and to be able to be in business together and raise a family together and do it all, everything 24/7, that's just a testament to the people you are. It's wonderful.
Yes. Well, we are just having fun. I think that at the end of the day, I always try to say to my customers, if things, when they are stressing about something, I always tell them, you know what, it's a hobby. It's supposed to bring you pleasure, not a headache. So yeah, that's quite an important thing there, I think.
What would you say to people wanting to start out with quilting now?
I would say just go for it, and forget, even if there are any rules, forget about them. You learn them along the way, but just start and have fun with it, and don't restrict yourself with rules, because you know what, amazing things happen when we break them. So I've got this wonderful customer who started quilting, and when she started, she was quite free about it, and she was really enjoying herself. And the longer she sewed, the more kind of rules she picked up. Oh, you shouldn't be doing that. Oh, you shouldn't be doing that, and you should be doing it this way. You know what, there is 101 ways how to do the same thing, and if you want to find the 102nd, then go for it. So I think that's the sort of main thing. If you want to start, just start. Don't think about it. Nothing's going to be perfect. None of my things are perfect, so don't worry about that thing either, and just have fun with it.
I do love that. I think it's the best way. And if anybody has got to be a testament to actually just throwing it all out the window, it's Best in Show Festival at Quilt, because who would have thought something so out of the box and so amazing would have done so phenomenally well? And it couldn't have happened to better people. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
Thank you very
Just
much.
can't believe it's been so long since we last saw it. It's 6 months. It's mad.
I know, yes. And it's going to be at the Festival of Quilts hanging again, because I've got my own gallery with all the other mandalas.
No. Oh my. But if that's not a reason to get you to festival this year, that's incredible. Well done.
So it's going to be there. It's going to be there again, together with plenty of others, which you sort of saw on the wall here, and Olivia is making hopefully another one as well. So yeah, it's gonna be great fun. And
I wonder how many colours he'll use it in that one.
I made a most wonderful one for my sister once, and I this is it. Sometimes you are inspired by colors which I would never normally put together. She's got this sort of this kind of colored floor in her living room, so like a very soft honey colored wood, and then she's got turquoise wall and a light gray sofa with anthracite cushions on it. It all works absolutely fantastic together. So I've choose a graphite fabric, and then I use copper and silver next together, which I would normally never put together. And together with the turquoise on this sort of anthracite color, it looked absolutely fantastic. So I said to him that one which he is sort of in the middle of drawing, that I want to replicate those colors, because that was my really favorite one.
So what is next for you? Obviously, planning for the festival is going to be amazing.
Yes, well, this is it. It's like after winning Best in a Show, what do you do next? I must admit, when it comes to paint, that feels like that's as far as we wanted to take it. And so I am creating two pieces for the Festival of Quilts. One will be very modern. You look at it and you will be like, I would never have guessed that's her, and that's fine. That's fine by me. What I'm creating now at the moment is several different sort of jackets and body warmers and things, so that latest in the autumn I'd like to come up with a online course to make quilted jackets. I like fitted things, so let me just put it on. It's all silk. That's how it looks. And the quilting is like this. And the inside is another silk fabric with all seams nicely sort of bound and neatened up. So this one,
You know that I've spent 50% of this podcast with my mouth hanging open, too scared to speak because the camera will come to me. That is incredible. The detailing on your quilting, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's kind of what I called a doodle quilting.
You call that doodling?
Yeah, isn't it? Isn't it doodling? I think it is doodling.
That's brilliant. One person's doodle is another person's dream.
And what it did, so it got highly commended at Festival of Quilts, and then it went to Quilt Show in America, where it was specifically entered into wearable art, and it won first runner-up. And it won my daughter, or more my son, because she's not really using it, a little red Bernina sewing machine.
Oh, how perfect.
So yeah, mind you, when it arrived, at that time, Jasmine was probably sort of six or seven back then. So so she was like, she was excited about having the sewing machine, but never really used it. And my son back then, he said, "Mummy, now you have to win a blue one as well." I'm just loving it. I'm just really enjoying all this sort of dressmaking. So that's probably where it's going next.
And being able to creatively and beautifully cross the two mediums between dressmaking and quilting.
Yeah.
Well, if anybody's going to get it right, it's going to be you.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, Vendulka, it's been so good to talk to you today. Thank you so much for joining us. Join us again next week for our next installment of Quilt Along with John. Thanks so much, Vendulka.
Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.